Monetization in free-to-play games, though necessary, can sometimes feel like it's poorly executed, but sometimes maybe not. A game such as Genshin Impact has entire characters behind gigantic paywalls. Games such as Brawlhalla and League of Legends make their money through cosmetics such as skins and emotes and such. Within Realm of the Mad God, there are so many different variables and ways the game can be monetized. We've got character slots, vault chests, potion storage, cosmetics such as skins and pet skins, and entire sets of items. STs, formerly known as set tier items, are equipment that comes in groups of 4, each set having their own special theme and skin. It's got everything from pirates to pixies to slimes to specters. Before we dive into the main contents, let's start with a bit of history. The first ever ST set was the pre-rework Oryx Awesome set. These items were just re-sprites of wine cellar tops and served no purpose apart from the 16x16 sprite. Weirdly enough though, the parts of the set were all released at different times. The sword was released in June 2014, the shield was released in August 2014, and then the ring and armor were finally released in September 2014. This set was nothing special, I don't really have much to say about it. It wasn't until November the same year where we would see something which would change the meta completely. Two months after the Oryx Awesome set was fully released, we'd see the Swole Paladin release. The ring and the seal were no big deal, however, of course, this is when we would see the addition of the Pixie Enchanted sword. Before the release of this sword, if you wanted a close range sword, you'd opt for the Demon Blade, and if you wanted a long range sword, you'd usually opt for something like a Crystal Sword, like, when those were relevant. The prices of Pixie swords were insane. At the same time, this is also when we saw the first real major case of monetization with STs. Naturally, this caused a lot of controversy because it was released through the Alchemist, an old NPC that was basically a spin the wheel type thing, and remember, Pixie swords weren't soulbound, meaning they were selling like mad. You'd think that with all the backlash that Kabam received, they'd dialed down the power of STs on release, and yeah. There's always one item from each ST set which was really strong. Like, think about it. Back in the day, Shendip from the Geb set was really good. The Ancient Spell Pierce had to get nerfed at one point, I believe, and the Aetheryte Dagger from the Rogue set. Since that time, all of these items have been either reworked or nerfed, but at the same time, they were probably some of the best items we'd seen in a long time. In terms of history, that's all I really planned to cover. Kabam really set the groundwork for monetization of basically UTs with a different title. I mean, think about the main trope of UTs is their unorthodox behavior, whether it be passives, unique shot patterns, or attack speed. Almost as if they were the same thing for a really long time. In recent years, I really have to applaud Deca for the way they've been treating the release of ST sets. What was something that ST sets didn't really have back in the day but have an abundance of now? Think about it. Synergy. Let's compare the 2021 Deva Trickster set to the 2014 Reghostening set. In this rogue set, there is absolutely zero synergy. Hell, the armor even grants mana on equip. What kind of rogue needs mana? Now if we look towards the Deva Trickster set, namely actually the Davite Progenitor from the set, this is probably the smartest way we have seen to incorporate synergy into an item set. The decoy from the Prism thrives from upgraded attributes which are dependent on the pieces of the set that you have equipped. If you're wearing the Archangel's Judgment, the decoy gets a 50% damage increase. If a Seraphim's Guard is worn, the decoy range is increased by 50%, and if the Flames of Genesis is worn, it increases the duration of the decoy. Like, honestly, wow. Just wow. Honestly, I'm astonished at how well the set was designed. It has a job, it does its job super well, and it's really damn fun. It's definitely an improvement from their old design philosophy. I like to say that a lot of us can agree what the biggest culprit for ST sets with the most messy overall design was. Back in 2018, the previously talked about Oryx Awesome set was shelved and replaced with the new Oryx Battle Attires set, which came with a really mediocre sword, shield, and ring, and then one of the best armors we'd seen in the history of the game. Mercy's Bane really did take the game by storm. It's a phenomenal item, it grants 14 DPS stats and 10 defense, and at the time, Helm of the Juggernaut was very popular, meaning those two put together made for an absolutely unstoppable duo. Overall, I think it's a little bit scummy, but the items are obtainable by just playing the game, so I can't really complain too much. And to be fair, from this Mercy's Bane philosophy, we can also somewhat apply this to other sets as well. Let's look at the Hollow King Necromancer set. It's definitely not to the same degree though. Edictum Praetoris is alright DPS, the Toga Pictor is okay, the Ring is the Ring. The only reason you can't compare the two in this philosophy is because Memento Mori wasn't really thrown into the spotlight until the Vital Combat update when Deca decided to slam an extra attack on it because they nerfed damaging in that patch. One move that I really do appreciate from Deca is the introduction of the Gladiator Guard. It wasn't an accident that it's just an overall more viable version of the Mercy's Bane, and I think that's obvious enough. It was given the stats it was in hopes to phase the Mercy's Bane out of the metagame, and for the most part that's what it did. In most cases you'll only be seeing Mercy's Bane worn in speedruns, PPEs, or the most confident of melee players. Or if you don't have a Glad Guard. Alright, let's talk about the decline of individual viability with ST sets. Earlier I was talking about the David Trickster, so I'm gonna go back to that. Of course, the damage on Archangel's Judgment isn't the greatest. Hell, it gets out damaged by Corruption Cutter at all positive defenses, which kinda doesn't sit right with me, but what can you do? Deca has evidently been straying away from individual usability with these STs, further proven by items such as the ring from the Nordic Knight set. I don't want to try and pronounce it, Jalahorn, I don't know. This accessory grants Berserk upon ability use when worn in conjunction with the Dalvar's Battle Axe, and the sword itself isn't actually too amazing. Now this begs the question, is this a good thing? Personally, I believe so. With how much power creep has been affecting the game in recent times, they'd need to make STs so much stronger than they were 5 years ago. Think of it like this, do you think that if the Enchanted was to come out nowadays, anybody would bat an eye? Of course not. We have the Ancient Intellect, Vesture, and Diplomatic Robe. Items have become so much stronger that Deca has to shift the focus of STs from individual usability to how well they synergize with each other when worn in conjunction. This is why we're seeing so many passives. While I was absent from the game, 3 ST sets were revealed. I've already reviewed the Water Kensei set, so I won't really be talking about that. The Stormcaller Bard set and the Earthen Bulwark Summoner set solidify my argument for the eradication of ST's individual viability. Both of these ST sets follow the theme of the ability getting stronger based on how many of the other parts are being worn with it. However, unlike the David Trickster set, the weapon from these sets don't affect the ability's power. As we can see, the shots from the wand are very unorthodox. And this is the first and probably only mace we'll be seeing with a reflect mechanic. I really wasn't expecting this, but I mean, I'll take it. Earlier in this video, I briefly touched upon monetization. Personally, I really dislike how these sets are available from the mystery box. Just because Deca is now helping to differentiate these items from UT items, it does not take away from the fact that there is a price tag on these items if you're willing to sink some cash into it. It's tacky. If skins weren't so goddamn expensive as they are, I believe they could easily make a lot more revenue from that department. Hell, if I could put on 1200 realm gold and buy a decent skin, I would. Why the hell am I paying $26 for this?
Are you serious? This is sassy.
As an overall conclusion, I'm really happy with how ST sets are being created now. I know I spoke a few more negatives than positives in this video, but these are all just personal irks I have with the game. I believe that they should keep putting more emphasis on synergy with sets because recently they've been adding some absolute banger sets to the game. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Testing. This is the audio recording for, what is this video? What's the deal with ST items? Open bracket, work in progress title, close bracket. Monetization in free-to-play games, though necessary, seems like, wait. 2 months later, the Oryx Awesome set was fully released. We'd see the Swole Paladin released, the seal and the ring were no big deal, however, now if we look towards the David Trickster set, maybe? Namely the...